What's up, guys? I'm going to walk you through how to do these tie rod ends, inner and outer. 2003 Volkswagen Jetta. This is going to work for multiple years. I'm trying to do this in real time and yeah, just explain it the best I can, right? Without covering the camera too much while I'm working in here. All right, 17 millimeter, took the lug nuts off. These lug nuts or lug studs are funky. I don't like it. You know, the tire will fall off on you when you take it off, whatever. All right, let's grab our 19 millimeter here and put it on this super rusty nut. This tie rod end is bad, like popping all over. So, woo. If you get bored, feel free to fast forward to the parts you need. I'm going to show you how to take this tie rod end off easy. Now, it's probably just going to spin on me. It did not spin on me. When they get really loose, sometimes the stud, the ball, starts spinning with the nut. Doesn't come off. You got to chop it off. I mean, yeah, you could try to extract it if you got a little slot like this one in there with like an Allen, but it's a lot easier just to grab the old angle grinder. All right, that nut is jammed in there, which is cool. We don't mind. All right, before we pop this off, we want to get this nut loose in this hold down nut right here. Let me make sure the camera can see. Yeah, you guys can see it. The back of the outer tie rod is that nut. We got a 7/8 wrench. It's going to translate to a 22 millimeter. And it's so rusty, I can't fit the wrench over it. But luckily, we've got a wire wheel right here. Let's plug her in. Bada boom. Get some of that rust off of there. Alright, if you don't live up north, then you probably won't see it this rusty. So we're going to turn this nut clockwise. See, it fits right on there now. We want to turn it clockwise. Ooh, and it won't break free. Trust me. Let's get it over here on the bottom like this. And grab a pipe for our wrench. I got a bunch of random pipes laying around. They're very handy. Let's see if she'll break free. Oh, she is. It's spinning the boot and the inner tie rod with it, but it is breaking free, the nut. Here, I'll let you see. It's spinning. Ooh, that's tough. Oh. Lost my wrench there, but all right, so that nut's out of there, right? That's sweet. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna go straight for the torches because, yeah, I already know. I've done enough of these. That tie rod end is not gonna come off. Most people don't have the oxyacetylene torches like I do. You can use a propane or MAP gas torch. You can get them from the store. I don't know. What are they, like 20, 30 bucks for a kit? I don't know. I use oxyacetylene. But it just takes a little longer with the propane and the MAP gas. Or you could just go through more effort of having two guys, one person holding, I believe that's a 13 millimeter on the inner tie rod while spinning, or a huge vice grip while spinning the outer tie rod. Because we got to spin that off. Yeah, before we do that, let's just take the tie rod off. We'll grab our jumbo hammer and we're gonna hit right here on that spot, the steering knuckle, not the tie rod. Just give it a few vibrations. Now let's see if that loosened it. It didn't. A few more. There we go. It loosened it. Our tie rod will not spin. We could put our wrench, whatever size it is, 19 millimeter on the outer tie rod and try to spin it while holding a 13 on the inside here. But I almost guarantee you it ain't gonna get us nowhere unless I had a helping hand to really hold down the inner tie rod from spinning. I don't have that right now. Let's light it up. Sorry for the delay. Should have had torches on. Should have known, should have known. Alright, we got everything we need. And this won't take long. We're not gonna heat it too long. We got our 19 ready and we got our 13 ready, which is good. You wanna have those wrenches ready so the metal doesn't cool off on you. Just throw a little fuel in there. A little bit of oxygen. We'll just get her hot. Right up where those threads are. You can get that nut hot too, because I want to zip that off. That 7/8 or 22 millimeter nut. I want to make it as easy as possible on myself, so I'm just going to use the impact to zip that off while it's still toasty from this, because what it's going to do is just not come off of there. It's so rusty. Let me turn her up just a little bit. Oh, she's red hot. Always wear eye protection, torching goggles, gloves, steel toe boots. Protect yourself, people. I guarantee you, you're not as tough as me. All right. Unless this gets 1 million views, then there might be somebody out there. All right, 13 millimeter here doesn't want to go on because it's so dang rusty. But it's spinning. We're gonna count the spins. Ooh, mama. It is toasty. That's one. So when we put this back together, we want it close to where it needs to be for the alignment shop. 2, it'll get easier as I go. 3, getting easier. 4, 5 or 6. Now it's like butter. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17 on the dot. And of course, if you don't have torches, you don't want to screw with this, you're doing inner and outer, you can just chop her right off with a saw. I could have done that, but some of you are only doing outer tie rods, so I had to show that, right? I could have just took my torch or my cutter and went, zhurp. See you later, alligator. I know that was cheesy, I'm sorry, I'm weird. All right, 7/8. Boom, right on that nut. We want that nut to go bye-bye. We're gonna pop this 13 on here that's super freaking rusty. Oh my God, it is not coming off. Let's heat her up some more. That hurt my hand a little bit, the vibration. What I do like to do is put like giant vice grips on or the wrench and let it rest against that control arm, you know? How we looking here? We're looking good, 9 minutes in. Not bad. Yeah, 10 minutes to do an outer tie rod, guys. That 13 finally went all the way on. The groove of the inner tie rod, by the way. We're gonna get this sucker cherry red. And then it ought to zip off for us. Heat is the most amazing thing in the world. All right, let's see if she'll come off now. Yep, she came off. Boom. We'll put that out of the way where we're not gonna step on it. There we go. And now we got ourselves down to the inner tie rod. Let's take a better look at that. All right, so we got a little metal clamp here. Bada boom. We're just gonna rip that sucker right off. And we've got another one right there. What I like to do is take a long screwdriver and hammer it right through that loop, and it pushes the clamp back because it expands the clamp. It's off the boot. We retrieve our boot. So right through this loop, you can smack it with a screwdriver and it'll help pop it open. It's just the easy, fast way to do it, right? All right, so we got a hammer. By the way, these are all the tools that we're gonna need for the job, pretty much. Torch optional, wire wheel optional, flashlight optional. Impact really helps, but you can do it with wrenches and sockets. We need this inner tie rod tool. Well, you don't need it. I'll show you why. But you can go rent one from an auto parts store and you get your money back as soon as you return it. I just own one because I do this too much. Take me a little screwdriver and give that clamp a few little taps, and you see how it like opened up, expanded? Yeah, buddy. I lost my favorite screwdriver for doing those. They like fit in, it like fit in there perfectly that it like, I don't know where it went. We'll find it next month. The garage gremlins have it right now. See, this is tough because this is hot and I don't want to touch it. But I gotta pry this clamp off real quick. But at the same time, it wiggles everywhere. Now when you're putting these clamps back on, yeah, you can go to the store and buy these clamps. But yeah, for old buddy's Jetta, we're just gonna slap some zip ties on it real nice and tight. And it won't really be a problem for us. They'll hold up throughout the years, trust me. Just make sure you don't buy those cheap zip ties. There we go, clamp's totally off of there. Now we need to bust that clamp there without touching the hot end. Don't touch the hot end. Go. Now we just pop the tab. There we go, pop. Boom. I did that. That looked professional, that back one. I don't know why I fought more with the front one than the back one. We don't want to melt our rubber coming off. I don't know how hot that is. Don't want to melt our rubber. We want to reuse that boot. It looks good. So we'll just quench this a little bit, and that ought to cool it off enough that it doesn't do any damage. Here's number 2. That'll make your life easier. Some tie rod end boots, they just don't want to come off of there. They're all rusty. I'm just going to throw a little PB blaster up in there to help it come off. We're going to pull. There we go. The back side's broken free. Now we need the front side to come forward for us. And we'll pull with everything I have. And it's going to come off. There we go. It's off. Now we grab our old clamp that we popped off of there. See? They kind of just clip right in there. And then you use a little squisher plier tool to tighten it. And that's how it makes it real tight. Okie dokie. I don't have my flashlight on, but looks like we got enough light in the garage today. See, there's that inner tie rod is hexed at the end. So technically you can extend it all the way out, so that'd be cutting your wheel all the way to the left. and get a wrench on it, angled. But yeah, we're gonna use the tie rod tool. We've got 33.6 millimeter. I guess that's what size this is. That's what I used on the other side. So we're gonna pop it on there. This is how you use this inner tie rod tool. You put it on there on the flat spots. Do this and come around here. I want to make sure you guys can see me using this tool. We got a breaker bar and we got the tool. See, it's got these two slots that fit into the ears of the crow's foot, and then you can even lock it in if you want with this sliding mechanism. So I'm gonna hold the crow's foot in place from the back and slide the tool in. Now we're locked into those ears. We'll grab our breaker bar, 1/2 inch, fit it through the tool, and counterclockwise. Boom, it's broken free. Once you break the inner tie rod free, it is just gonna spin for you like nothing. Get our tool out of the way. How hot are you after that quenching, buddy? Oh, I could touch it now at the end. And we're just spinning it off by hand, easy. Easy, easy. There she goes. That's part one. Part two, let's put everything back together. Quick break. 17 minutes. Not bad. What's up, guys? I got my tie rod tool back on there. All right, I haven't done nothing off camera but spin that inner tie rod on. Put a little Loctite on those threads if you want to. This one, the Moog tie rod didn't come with Loctite. Most of the time inner tie rods do. Sometimes it'll slip off on you like that. All right, just make sure you... All right, keep slipping off on me. Is this a different size? Let's check her out. Might be just a little, just a hair smaller on this size. I don't think I'm slipping off here. Actually, there we go. That should be good. Yeah, it's rounding around it like it's a hair different size, which is funny because it's the same part for the left and right side. I mean, as far as it's an inner tie rod, same brand, so why would it be a different size? Let's go one size smaller. That's 33. We've got 1 5/16, 1 7/8. All right, this one looks just the tiniest hair smaller. Looks, but I feel like I measured 1 7/16 or something, and it just barely won't go on there. Just barely won't fit. So that's my next size smaller. I don't know, you wouldn't run into weird things. Maybe the last time I used this, maybe this is stretched out just a hair, you know, I've used it a bunch of times. Stuff happens. As they say. I'm pretty sure that last little crank got it tight right where it should be. I'm gonna try going on a different hex. Upside down. And maybe it'll stay on there so that I'm certain we've got good torque on it. It's tight. And like I said, you can even get a wrench in at an angle. But yeah, that's on there tight. All right, what do we got next here? Our boot, right guys? Boot. Yeah, the tricky part is, like, if you want to go with your metal clamp back on there, I mean, good luck getting your hands in there. With enough perseverance, I'm sure you can do it. I'm just gonna go zip tie style. If you don't agree with that, I don't care. All right, so I'm gonna take the other wheel. I do have the key in the ignition so the steering wheel's not locked. And I'm going to bring it in. So I just cut the wheel to the left, which sucks the inner tie rod in. And what we want to make sure is that this boot is on there squarely. See, it's not on there squarely. We're going to turn the wheel back to the left just a hair, because there's too much pressure on the coils of the boot there, or the springs, whatever you want to call it, to let it go on perfectly square. Feels pretty good. So basically the wheels are about straight now. Problem is I can't see nothing. I'm going by feel, and yeah, it's not on there all the way. Come on, baby. There we go. Give her a little spin, a roo. And with the spinaroo, it got on there square. We're gonna take our last black zip tie. Time for another package. And we want to think about which way we're going to put this on so that we can pull it tight. So if we put it on this way, we can't pull our zip tie tight. Unless we go like that. So we want to put it on this way. So the tail's pointing that way so we can pull it tight from the underneath. And there's a trick to getting these zip ties real tight, so they're tight enough to hold on a boot, because that boot is going to be going back and forth. So it's going to want to pull out of there. So you got to have that tight in the groove. I'll come underneath and make sure we're perfectly around the boot. And start tightening my zip tie. As it gets almost there, I'm going to double, triple check that we are around that boot properly. And there's really no good way to put the metal clamps on this, unless you want to drop your engine cradle. There we go. I got it tight as I can with my hands. Now we're going to take a screwdriver and some pliers. We're going to grab onto the tail and press the block of the zip tie with this screwdriver, and that's going to get that zip tie real tight that it'll never come off. And that's the trick, my peeps. Double check it. Oh yeah, that sucker's woo. That sucker's tight. Take our side snips. I'm going through all the tools I told you you'd need. And we'll just cut that tail off for looks. You leave it on, it's not gonna hurt nothing. And then I'm gonna chew on that, because I don't have any gum. All right, and we're gonna make sure that the skinny side is locked into the groove on the inner tie rod. You can see on the old one, there's an indented groove. What that does is just keep that boot from going anywhere. And put a zip tie on that little piece, right? When you're all done. All right, inner tie rod tight. Put some Loctite on there. Blue, I'll use blue for inner tie rods. They already go on there pretty tight. Put a little extra grease. Move your ball around. Put a little extra grease in there if you want to. If if you want to go the extra mile. All right, it's time for our nut. What we're going to do is just put a little dab of grease there. We'll put a little dab of grease inside our outer tie rod. We'll spin our nut on. And remember, our outer tie rod needs to go on 17 spins. We don't want to be driving to the alignment shop and the tires squealing or the vehicle death shaking or death jerking. I've seen that before. That's wild. Drive a car with a random death jerk. We're going down the highway and only death jerk you every 5 to 20 minutes. That's weird. That's some weird stuff. All right. So now we'll put a little grease on these threads. Now, the next guy who has to take this off for one reason or another, even though these are lifetime warranty Moog parts, you never know. Some of these cars run for hundreds of thousands of miles. This is a diesel. I believe it's the same setup whether you're diesel or gasoline on these. Alright, we got some. I lost count. Let's count them out loud so we don't lose count. 1, 2, 3, and don't start counting till the threads catch. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Bada boom, that's 17. Shimmy shake your little doohickey around till it fits nicely all the way through the steering knuckle ear. Now we're going to bring this nut counterclockwise, which locks it into the inner tie rod. And we'll take our, what was that, 7/8 wrench. We're going to tighten that lock nut up nice and tight. Beautiful. Now instead of a castle nut, this is a nylon locker nut with a fitting for a Torx in the middle. So what you want to do is put a Torx in this middle and spin this with a wrench. Ratcheting wrench works best. We're going to go the easy route. And I'm sorry, but you're going to have to look up your own torque specs. Sorry, guys. Oh, look. We still got that nut stuck in there. There we go. Oh, it came right out now. Didn't want to come out before. Let's go. Just give her a few taps. All right. We're just going to get her snug with the impact. I'm going to hold down on the head. There we go. Just kind of snugged it up. Now, the other Moog, I was expecting these to have grease zerks in them, and I'm totally confused because it's Moog Lifetime. And the last ones had a grease zerk. These ones didn't. Whatever, it's lifetime warranty. It goes out, we'll get a free pair. Don't know why there's no grease zerk. All right, final thoughts, people. I think we've come a long way. Why is there a sway bar link or a sway bar bushing just chilling right here? You see that? Somebody replaced the sway bar bushings and left the old one here, because there's definitely a bushing in there. And when they installed it, they installed it square so it's not sticking out the other side. This guy does none of his own work, so that was done by a different mechanic. Alright, so put a zip tie here. Tighten this nut down to specs. That should do it. Put our wheel back on. Torque our lug studs to spec. Go take her down to the alignment shop. Thanks for watching, guys. Any questions, just leave a comment. Happy to respond with any questions. All right, so installation, we're at almost exactly 13 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 13 minutes. So a half hour is what it took minus taking the wheel on and off, but I've been sitting here talking. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care.